Hey, what's going on YouTube? Hyperdark19 here with a new video in my Duel News segment. Today I'm going to be talking about two things. The one would be the new structure deck that's set to come out next month, actually in about 2 weeks or so, and also about a new way to play the Yu-Gi-Oh card game that I think is really, really cool. So getting right onto it, this is called the Dueling Revolution because part one of this video will be about the new structure deck. You may have heard of it, Dawn of the Xyz, coming out in about 2 weeks on July 12th, I believe, very soon. And it's going to introduce a whole new type of monster to the trading card game. And so first there were normal monsters, effect monsters, tributes, rituals, fusions. Then there were synchros, and now there's going to be Xyz monsters. It's spelled XYZ, and you don't say it's not an XYZ monster. It's an Xyz monster. I know. They were called Xyz in Japan, and I thought that was a really cool name, and they just, like Konami always does, they stupided it up a little bit for us, just for us. So Xyz it is. Whatever. I'm not really sure. After looking over some of the first ones that are going to be coming out, I'm honestly not sure what to think of these guys yet. Um, my impression, at least, is that they're not going to like completely change. They're not good enough to completely change the way we play the game, like I think Synchros did. However, I think they'll make a lot of decks more playable, and because they're splashable in a lot of decks, and I think it'll make already existing. I think their primary role in the game will be to make already existing decks more consistent, give decks that really didn't have any powerhouses some new weapons to use. And yeah, that's my prediction for these. So I just wanted to talk about the new structure. It's a starter deck. The new starter deck for a moment that features these new monsters. So first of all, about Xyz monsters. The way you summon them is it's kind of like a synchro, kind of like tributing, except and with equipment added in there a little bit. Basically, any kind of Xyz monster needs two or more monsters. Usually, most of them use two. Some use three, but usually two monsters that have the same level. So far, I haven't seen any that are like themed, and he's like, oh, two fish monsters of the same level, two rock monsters of the same level, that kind of thing. I haven't seen that yet, but they need two monsters of the same level, definitely. Sometimes three monsters of the same level. And what happens, they're called overlay material, and you put them underneath the Xyz monster card when you summon it from your extra deck. Yes, they come from the extra deck, just like Synchros. And yeah, and they basically, like Xyz monsters, their power level and how strong they are depends on how many overlay material units they have, and a lot of their effects revolve around sending the overlay units they have to the graveyard in order to get effects. And so, yeah, it kind of limits their usage, unlike Synchros. But I don't know. Like I said, not really impressed by the ones that are coming out, but there's a few that are kind of interesting, and I'm going to share at least the three that are going to be in this structure deck. The first one, the title card, the headliner, is called Number 39 Utopia, and it is a rank 4. Just another note about Xyz monsters, they do not have levels, they have ranks. So I know it looks like level stars, but if you look very carefully, one, they're black, just like the card border itself, and two, they are on the opposite side of the card from where levels should be on a normal card. So for last time, Xyz monsters have ranks, they do not have levels, which means you can't synchro summon with them, they're not affected by cards like Burden of the Mighty, etc. And yeah, so no synchro abuse with these guys, unfortunately. But yeah, ranks. So number 39 Utopia is a rank 4 Xyz monster, meaning that you need two level 4 monsters to overlay to summon him. And his effect is that whenever a player declares an attack on him, you can remove one of his overlay units to negate that attack. Pretty good. He can negate 2 attacks total. However, if he's targeted for an attack and it's any card, not just him, but if he's targeted for attack and he has no more material monsters equipped to him, he's sent to the graveyard automatically. So, an okay effect, decent. Could be useful in some decks. He's got 2,500 attack, and he's a warrior, which makes him Pretty good support for warrior decks and good support for a lot of decks in general, just because he's very, very splashable, like I said. And I don't know, I plan on, once this guy comes out, I plan on splashing him into some of my decks already. And yeah, I mean, pretty good. Like I said, he's the headliner of the deck, and there's two other super rare Xyz monsters. The first one, which I thought was also kind of interesting, is called Gachi Gachi Gentetsu. Say that 5 times fast. And he's a rock Xyz monster of rank 2, which means you need 2 level 2 monsters to summon him. Interesting already, and he's got pitiful 500 attack and an okay 1800 defense, but it gets better once you read his effect. If he would be destroyed, you can send one of the material monsters that you use to summon him to the graveyard instead, so he doesn't get destroyed by battle. So pretty good, like a lot like the last guy. He can protect himself from being destroyed twice with his own effect. Also, an interesting little catch here is that as long as he's face up on the field, face up monsters you control gain 200 attack and defense, including himself, for each Xyz material monster that he has equipped to him. So when you summon him, he gains 400 attack and defense, so he's 900, 2400 already, which is pretty good. And he boosts all your other monsters too. So I was going to actually splash this guy into my fairy deck, because 2 Mystic Shine Balls summon this guy, pump up whatever else you have by 400. Pretty good deal, I thought, all in all, because Shine Balls don't really get used for anything else except maybe synchroing, and if you don't have Earth, then they're not really that useful. So yeah, I was thinking about splashing him into that deck. An okay card, interesting. I'll be interested to see what people do with it. And last but not least, of course, if the last ones are 2 and 4, I mean 2 and 4, yeah, 2 and 4, they had to give us a 3. So we have Granosaurus, who is a fire dinosaur monster, very interesting combination, of rank 3, which means you need 2 level 3 monsters to summon him. And his effect is, he's 2000 attack and 1900 defense, so not that great, really, but okay if you're just using 2 monsters. When he destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can remove one of his material monsters and send it to the graveyard, to inflict 1000 points of damage to your opponent. Interesting, but I don't really see a whole lot of use for this card, even in terms of splashability, because Dinosaur really isn't a very much used type, and I don't know, his effect just isn't that stellar, neither his attack points. However, I mean, whatever, you could splash this guy into some deck. I mean, there's going to be a lot of other options coming out in the new set generation for us, though, so we'll have to wait and see, really, to see what these guys have got. Also, another note about these Xyz monsters is that when there's a lot of complicated rulings on them that are going to be much discussed in the next few weeks, I would think. One of them is, one you should know, is Book of Moon. Book of Moon is pretty much automatic death to Xyz monsters, because when an Xyz monster is flipped face down according to the rulings in Japan, it loses its overlay material units. So mostly that takes away the power of most Xyz monsters right away. So, like I said, Book of Moon's a very good card to use against them. And also, some cards, when they're uses overlay units to an Xyz monster, and they're sent to the graveyard by the monster's effect, sometimes their effects trigger when sent to the graveyard, and sometimes they don't. I've heard that Dandelion, if you use Dandelion as an overlay unit and you send it to the graveyard, its effect activates, but I've also heard that Sangan's doesn't. So I honestly don't know the finer points of those rulings, so I guess we'll find those out in the next few weeks or so. Also, with talking about the dueling revolution, as I said, another point is I've been looking online for a really long time for a good website to play the Yu-Gi-Oh card game online, and I think I've found it. It's a website. It's called www.duelingnetwork.com. Dueling Network, just the way you'd think you'd spell it, duelingnetwork.com. And yeah, pretty much you just make an account there. It's totally free, and you can go in. There's a database of all the cards currently in Yu-Gi-Oh, pretty much like OCG, TCG. They're all in English. You can use any kind of card you want to build your deck. Well, it goes by the same rules as always. You can play traditional format, There's banned and restricted lists, of course, but you can play traditional format, advanced unrated, advanced rated with the real pros. But it's really, really fun. I've played people of all different skill levels on there, and it gives you the option of building decks that you'd never like really get the real cards to get, which has been a lot of fun for me, I know. And also, you get to play test cards that haven't come out yet, but exist in Japan, and also Japanese exclusive cards which we don't have. So pretty cool, really. It's a really awesome website. Like I said, totally free. It's really, really fun, and I would highly advise, if you're a real dueling enthusiast like myself, that you should go sign up for it. I know I'll be on, so if you want to make an account and duel and just to duel me, I mean that's fine. I'll be on there. My name is HyperDark19, just like on YouTube. Look me up. I'll be on there, usually under the advanced unrated section because I'm testing out lots of different decks. Yeah, but I've digitized all my regular decks, so if you want to play me with one of those, that's fine. And not just me. I mean, like I said, it's a great online community. It's really fun. So I highly advise you to go to www.duelingnetwork.com and give them your business because it's really awesome. That's about it, I think, for this video. Please comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, everything, and look up that website because I'm telling you, it's really, really awesome. All right, that's pretty much it. Until next time, peace out, YouTube.